I'm 71 years old, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you something that might make you uncomfortable, something your parents never explained, something your teachers never warned you about, something society quietly benefits from you never figuring out. Everything you think you know about getting older is wrong. Not slightly wrong, not outdated, completely wrong. And the most dangerous part? The people who should have told you the truth either didn't know it themselves, or they were too afraid to admit it. I know, because I believed the same lie for more than 50 years. I did everything right. Built the career, bought the house, earned the respect, played the part. From the outside, my life looked like a success story. From the inside, I was asleep. At 52 years old, something happened that shattered the illusion. Up until that moment, I thought I had control. I thought life was a straight line. Work hard now, enjoy later. Sacrifice today, relax tomorrow. Grind in your 30s, breathe in your 60s. That was the plan, until my heart tried to kill me. I was sitting in a meeting, talking about quarterly projections, numbers, forecasts, profits, when the room began to spin. Not dramatically, not like in the movies, quietly, subtly, like someone slowly dimming the lights on my life. The next thing I remember was waking up in a hospital bed, bright white lights above me, tubes running into my arms, the steady mechanical beep of a heart monitor reminding me I was still here, and in the corner of the room, my wife, crying. The doctor told me I was lucky. I had just come face to face with my own mortality, and they called it luck. But they were right, because lying there, unable to move, unable to distract myself with work or emails or responsibilities, I had nothing but time to think, and that's when it hit me. I hadn't been living. I had been performing, checking boxes, meeting expectations, chasing milestones that kept moving further away. Promotion, bigger house, more recognition, more validation, always more. And here's the thought that terrified me most. If my heart had stopped that day, what would I have left behind? A retirement account? A resume? A house someone else would sell in 5 years? Would anyone remember the deals I closed? The meetings I attended? The weekends I sacrificed? Or would they remember the moments I wasn't there? That hospital bed forced me to confront something most people spend their entire lives avoiding. I was running out of time, and I had spent most of it waiting for the right moment, waiting to feel secure enough, waiting to arrive. Let me tell you the biggest lie you are probably telling yourself right now. I have time. I'll travel later. I'll slow down later. I'll call more often later. I'll finally live the life I want later. But what if later never comes? What if the life you're postponing is the only one you get? That question changed everything for me. And what I've learned in the 19 years since that day has completely reshaped how I see life, death, success, regret, all of it. But before I go deeper, you need to understand something. I'm not making this video to sound wise. I'm not trying to impress you. And I definitely don't need validation at this stage of my life. I'm doing this because I am closer to the end than the beginning. And there are things you deserve to hear before it's too late. Not too late for me. Too late for you. Lying in that hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, I had a realization that scared me more than the heart attack itself. If I had died that morning, my entire life would have looked successful and completely empty. That's the part no one talks about. You can win the game and still lose your life. For 30 years, I chased what I thought was success. I climbed every rung of the ladder. I worked 60, sometimes 70 hours a week. I missed birthdays, skipped vacations, said, "Next year will be easier." Next year never got easier. It just got more expensive, more responsibility, more pressure, more expectations. When I finally made partner at my firm, I remember driving home thinking, This is it. This is the moment I've been working toward. For about 48 hours, I felt unstoppable, validated, important, victorious. And then, silence. The feeling faded. The emails kept coming. The targets got bigger. The pressure increased. Suddenly, there was another mountain to climb. That's when I learned something brutal. Success is addictive, but not fulfilling. It gives you a temporary high, not lasting peace. It convinces you that the next achievement will finally make you feel complete. But the goalposts keep moving. You get the promotion, now you need the next one. You double your income, now your lifestyle doubles too. You buy the house, now you need a bigger one. You're always reaching, always chasing, always slightly unsatisfied. It's a hamster wheel dressed up as ambition, and most people never step off. I had a friend, brilliant man, built a multi-million-dollar business from nothing, worked 70-hour weeks for decades, always said he'd slow down once things stabilized. Things never stabilized. 3 years ago, at 66, he had a stroke. At his funeral, his son stood up and said something I will never forget. My father was a successful man, but I barely knew him. That sentence hit harder than my heart attack, because I saw myself in it. You think your legacy will be your achievements. It won't. It will be your presence, or your absence. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. If you died tomorrow, who would miss your job performance? Who would talk about your quarterly results? Who would care how many emails you answered at midnight? Now ask a better question. Who would miss your laughter, your time, your attention, your love? That's your real life. And most people are neglecting it in exchange for applause from people who won't even remember their name in 10 years. Here's another truth no one warns you about when you're young. Your regrets won't be about the risks you took. They'll be about the ones you didn't. I don't lie awake thinking about failed business deals. I don't replay financial mistakes. Those don't haunt me. You know what does? The trip to Japan I postponed because work was crazy. The Sunday dinners I skipped because I was too tired. The book I always wanted to write but never started. The years I assumed my parents would always be there. Missed opportunities don't fade. They echo. And here's the cruelest part. When you're young, you think time is infinite. You think you can repair relationships later, travel later, apologize later, start living later. But time doesn't negotiate. My father died when I was 45. We had a complicated relationship. I always believed we'd have time to fix it. I was busy building my future. He died of a heart attack within hours. And my biggest regret? Not the arguments, not the disagreements. The phone calls I didn't make. The Sundays I didn't show up. The simple moments I assumed would repeat forever. There won't always be more time. That illusion is what keeps you comfortable and asleep. My heart attack didn't just scare me, it woke me up. And in the 19 years since that day, I've learned something that would have saved me decades if I had understood it earlier. You don't need more success. You need more aliveness. And most people don't realize the difference until something or someone is taken away. After my heart attack, I didn't become enlightened overnight. I didn't walk out of the hospital suddenly fearless and wise. I was terrified. Terrified of dying. Terrified of wasting whatever time I had left. Terrified that I would fall back into the same routine and pretend nothing had happened. Because that's what most people do. They survive something life-altering, and then slowly return to the same life that nearly destroyed them. I refused to let that happen, so I made changes. Not dramatic, social media-worthy changes. Real ones. I stepped back from work. Not completely. I still had responsibilities. But I stopped volunteering for stress that didn't matter. I started saying no. And that was harder than the heart attack. Because when your identity is built on achievement, saying no feels like shrinking. But it wasn't shrinking. It was choosing. I began asking myself one simple question before committing to anything. If I only had 10 years left, would this matter? Most things didn't. Another late meeting? No. Another ego-driven competition? No. Another obligation just to avoid disappointing someone? No. But dinner with my family? Yes. A spontaneous weekend trip? Yes. Calling an old friend just to reconnect? Yes. Here's what I discovered in the 19 years since that hospital bed. What matters is embarrassingly simple. Time with people you love. Work that feels meaningful to you, not impressive to others. Experiences that expand you. Being present enough to actually feel your life while it's happening. That's it. No secret formula. No complex philosophy. And when I say this, some of you are already rolling your eyes. I get it. At 30, I would have done the same. Sure, that sounds nice, but I have bills. I have goals. I can't just stop everything. I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm telling you to stop sacrificing what matters for things that don't. There's a difference. You can build a career without abandoning your health. You can pursue ambition without postponing joy. You can strive without forgetting to live. But most people don't. Because they're waiting. Waiting to feel secure enough. Waiting to earn enough. Waiting for life to calm down. Life doesn't calm down. It changes. It evolves. It replaces one problem with another. If you're waiting for a perfect season to start living intentionally, you will wait forever. Let me ask you something, and I want you to actually answer it in your head. If you died tomorrow, not in 40 years, not after retirement, tomorrow, would you be satisfied with the life you've lived so far? Not impressed. Satisfied. There's a difference. Would you feel at peace with how you spent your time, with the love you expressed, with the risks you took, with the presence you offered, or would you feel like you were just getting started? That question wrecked me, because at 52, my honest answer would have been no. I had achievements, but I didn't have depth. I had money, but I didn't have presence. I had plans, but I didn't have memories. And that's when I understood something that no one explains clearly. You can be productive your entire life and still not truly live. Living intentionally means you choose your days instead of drifting through them. It means you stop living on autopilot, because autopilot is seductive. It keeps you comfortable. It keeps you busy. It keeps you distracted. But it also steals your life quietly. Now at 71, I wake up every morning aware of something most young people avoid thinking about. I am on borrowed time. We all are. But when you're young, you feel invincible. You think death is a distant concept, something that happens to older people. Let me tell you the truth. You are not getting closer to your goals. You are getting closer to your death. Every single day. And that's not meant to depress you. It's meant to wake you up. Because when you understand time is limited, something powerful happens. You stop wasting it. You stop postponing joy. You stop tolerating things that drain your spirit. You stop pretending you have forever. And ironically, that's when you actually begin to live. I have 3 grandchildren, and when I look at them, I don't just see kids. I see potential. I see energy. I see the same fire I once had. But I also see something else. Stress, pressure, anxiety. They're growing up in a world that tells them they have to become extraordinary, or they've failed. More followers, more money, more status, more hustle. They're running before they even know where they're going. And sometimes I try to tell them what I've learned. I tell them, slow down. Choose carefully. Don't trade your life for applause. They nod politely. But I can see it in their eyes. They don't really hear me. Not because they're disrespectful. Because they can't. When you're in the middle of the storm, you can't see the pattern of the waves. When you're young, you think your situation is different. You think the old rules don't apply to you. You think you'll balance it better. You think you'll chase success and somehow avoid the trap. So did I. Let me tell you about the illusion that nearly cost me everything. It's the illusion of someday. Someday I'll relax. Someday I'll travel. Someday I'll call more often. Someday I'll prioritize my health. Someday I'll write the book. Someday I'll forgive. Someday I'll live. Someday is the most dangerous word in the English language because someday feels responsible. It feels mature. It feels like you're planning. But what you're really doing is postponing your life. Here's what nobody tells you. Someday turns into next year. Next year turns into a decade. And one day you wake up and you're 70, wondering where it all went. Time doesn't disappear loudly. It evaporates quietly, through routine, through repetition, through distraction. You think you'll always have more time with your parents, until you don't. You think your kids will always want your attention, until they stop asking. You think your body will always cooperate, until it doesn't. You think your friendships will always be there, until life pulls you in different directions. The brutal truth? There won't always be another chance. You are not just moving toward your dreams. You are moving toward your final day. Every morning you wake up, you are one day closer to the end of your story. That's not negative. That's reality. And reality is clarifying. Because when you truly accept that your time is limited, you stop playing small. You stop living for other people's approval. You stop postponing conversations that matter. You stop assuming love can wait. Let me ask you something uncomfortable again. Who have you not called? What dream have you buried? What risk are you avoiding because you're afraid of failing? What joy are you delaying because it doesn't seem productive? If you died 5 years from now, what would you regret not doing today? Don't lie to yourself. You already know the answer. You feel it when you're alone. You feel it in quiet moments. But then you silence it with busyness. Here's what I've learned at 71. Busyness is often a socially acceptable form of avoidance. We stay busy so we don't have to confront the fact that we're not living the way we want to. And if you keep postponing, life will make the decision for you. Through illness, through loss, through aging. I got lucky. My wake-up call didn't kill me. Not everyone gets that second chance. So the question isn't whether time is running out. It is. The question is, what are you going to do with the time you still have? If I could sit across from my 30-year-old self right now, if I could look him in the eyes, ambitious, driven, exhausted, convinced he had all the time in the world, here's what I would say. Stop trying to impress people who won't be at your funeral. Stop sacrificing your health for a job that would replace you in a week. Stop postponing joy like it's a reward you have to earn. Stop waiting for permission to live the life you already know you want. You don't need more credentials. You don't need more validation. You don't need one more promotion to finally feel worthy. You need courage. The courage to choose differently. The courage to say no. The courage to risk disappointing people who benefit from you staying busy. Because here's the truth no one wants to admit. If you don't take control of your time, something else will. Your job will. Your obligations will. Other people's expectations will. And one day you'll wake up, older, slower, running out of energy, and realize you traded your best years for things that didn't deserve them. I'm 71. If I'm lucky, maybe I have 10, 15, maybe 20 years left. Probably less. And I'm okay with that. Because these last 19 years have been the richest of my entire life, not financially, but emotionally, spiritually, relationally. I traveled to places I once postponed. I deepened my relationship with my children. I became present with my grandchildren. I forgave people I carried resentment toward for decades. I said I love you more times than I can count. And here's the irony. I am happier now, with less time ahead of me than I was at 30 when I thought I had forever. Do you know why? Because when you understand that time is limited, you stop wasting it. You stop scrolling your life away. You stop chasing applause. You stop postponing conversations. You stop tolerating things that drain your soul. You become intentional, and intentional living is freedom. Right now, as you're watching this, you are making a choice. You can close this video and go back to autopilot. back to someday, back to waiting, back to telling yourself you'll start later. Or you can decide that today is the day you stop gambling with your life. Call the person you've been meaning to call. Book the trip you keep postponing. Start the project that scares you. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Say no to something that drains you. Say yes to something that excites you. Start now. Not next month. Not after this project. Not when things calm down. Now. Because the perfect time will never come. Life will always be messy. There will always be bills, responsibilities, obligations. If you wait for calm waters before you sail, you will never leave the shore. One day, whether it's decades from now or sooner than you expect, you will look back on your life, and in that quiet moment, you won't care about your resume. You will care about who you loved, who loved you, what you experienced, what you created, whether you were truly present. Don't waste 52 years learning this the hard way like I did. Learn it now. Live intentionally. Prioritize what matters. Stop waiting for someday, because someday is today. It always has been. The clock is ticking. What are you going to do with your time?